All right, perfect, guys. So again, happy Saturday. Welcome to Saturday Training Masterclass. I have the luxury of giving the information to you guys today. Our topic is being prepared for going in the home for an appointment. Um, and this is super important, guys, because if you think about it, right, just like any other professional industry, if you think about a doctor, when they go to prepare for surgery, they're not trying to figure out where their tools are or what they need while their patient is laying on the table, under whatever, medication or whatever to put them to sleep for them to have surgery. So it's very important that you want to be prepared. And guys, how you do one thing is traditionally how you do everything, right? These people that we're going to see in the homes, we're calling leads, and most of the time it's people that we don't know. So you have a small time frame to make an impression. Um, when you go in the home, they're watching everything from how you dress to how you smell to how you talk, whether you're fumbling papers, trying to figure out where everything is, or if you're, organized and sharp and on point. So we're going to talk about some major points today that I want to hit on so that you guys are proficient and efficient each and every day and every week that you go in the field, being prepared to go and help families. And so before you can close a sale and help a family, you got to make sure you have these important points that I'm going to go over today. All right. So the first thing, guys, that I want to talk about being prepared for an appointment and what you need is the client inventory. Okay. So the client inventory is very important, guys. And if I can have somebody throw the links up there, everything is on the Agent Hub for you. Okay. If you don't know how to operate the Agent Hub, go around and play with it, right? But all the documents, all the information that you need is on there. This is where we're pulling it from. Okay. So the first thing is your final expense worksheet. This is so important, guys, right? Probably can't see it, but it's on the Agent Hub. And it's whether you're going into a mortgage protection appointment or whether you're going into a final expense appointment. It is two different sheets, but make sure you have that printed out. This is what's going to help you stay organized, right? This is what's going to help you when you're communicating with your manager about what direction you should go in and helping the client. It has everything on there for you step by step. Guys, we want to make sure that if we have a bunch of appointments, we want to go see everybody. And the way to do that is and to collapse those time frames is being organized with everything that's on this sheet, right? Before you can actually call your business partner that brought you in, you got to be able to have everything written down: name, age, date of birth. I mean, from down to the medications, so that we can give you the correct company to move forward with, so you can help that family and move on to your next appointment. So that's very, very, very important. This is going to help you understand if they need insurance, why they need insurance, and what direction to go in. Okay. The second thing is your brochures or your policy summary sheet, right? You have to leave something with the client. A lot of what we do is done on e-application. So they're not receiving an email, they're not receiving a paper policy right then and there. So if the client is getting approved or their policy is going through underwriting, you want to leave them with something, right? I always like to leave them with a policy summary, or you can actually go online and request brochures, which are free, right? It's always something
Right.
for them to look at.
I'm sorry.
Huh?
So you have your background blurred, so we can't see what you're holding up.
I'm sorry. Wait a second, video filters. There we go. All right.
There we
Can
go.
y'all see
Okay.
this? Sorry, guys.
Yes.
So policy, it has my name on it, big and bold. A lot of our clients are seniors, so they can't see, so they don't need their glasses to see that, right? And it has warnings, right? If another agent tells you that your policy is not what I've shown you today, they're not telling the truth, right? All of this here, guys, is just a reminder of why they need to keep your plan and to stick with you, right? And it also helps them remember what they signed up for, right? Sometimes we don't remember what we ate yesterday, right? So if they get a phone call from someone else trying to sell them life insurance and they don't know what they have, guess what they're doing? They're going with the next best thing, okay? And then we have some promises here, right? I promise to answer all your questions, put your best interest above all else, and tell you the absolute truth, and I sign it for them, right? It's almost like a confirmation for them to know that I'm here and I'm going to do everything that I can to help you, right? So it's always good to leave them with something. All right. It helps with your quality of business. Typically, people who don't receive anything after you leave an appointment, you leave them too much thought to think about whether they should keep your plan or not, right? They don't even know what they have. And I know for me, if I don't know what I have, I'm gonna go out and find something else, right? So it's the same thing with this business. So that's super important, guys. The FFL worksheet, make sure you have those printed. Always keep 10 or more. It helps you keep track of, and even when a client, let's say the policy went through underwriting, right? And you got to go back and figure out what company to go to next for them. This is a sheet that you can go refer back to, right? It's nothing more painful than to have to go back to a client who's taken 10 to 26 medications and having to gather all that information over again. So put everything on here, guys. Make your life easier, okay? The next thing, guys, is the carrier credibility laminated. I don't know about you, but when I walk into a doctor's office or professional establishment, I want to see some type of certification. Like if you go into a bar or if you go to get your nails done or, wherever you go, right? There's always licensing that's posted either on the wall or if you're going to see a doctor, their badges on their shirt or somewhere where where they are next to them so that you can see that they're credible. So guess what? You have this right here. You have your licenses printed out and also laminated. Why is that important, guys? Remember what I talked about early on. How you do one thing is how you do everything. And so a lot of times papers get jumbled up, it get crumbled up, right? So if you're showing a half torn license, guess what they know? That you're not gonna take care of them. You're not gonna be able to monitor and take care of their life insurance and making sure that they're paying their premiums or taking care of the back office. I'm telling you, these are all the things that they're thinking about. So when you laminate your credibility, or if you have an ID badge, um, I don't have mine on, but you can get an ID badge as well. If you don't know where to get one, you can go get one on your own, either through Vistaprint or Staples or Office Depot, or you can go through us, right? Send an email to our admin in FFL National to get an ID card so that when you go and you see that client and you step in that door, the first thing that they see are your credentials, and they know that you're serious, right? And that we're going to put their family first and treat their family just as important as we would treat our own. So make sure you have your documents laminated. It's super inexpensive, okay? And it has your licensing on there, right? It has the numbers, it has everything, okay? So they know you're real, and it just makes the sale that much easier. The next thing I want to talk about, guys, is your in-home presentation, right? These people don't know where you're coming from or what you're doing, right? They don't know how many, they don't know if you represent one company or over 30, right? So I always like to bring a laminated in-home presentation so the clients can have something to look at with all the carriers that are credible. They know we're going to do all the shopping around for them. And the household names are on here: Mutual, Omaha, right? Gerber. If you don't have this and you're not showing your clients, guys, they don't know who you contract with. Guys, please mute your phone or your line. And then at the bottom, guys, if you notice, life insurance is not the only thing that we do. So when you're sitting in front of a final expense lead or a mortgage protection lead, right, you get the opportunity to show them everything that you specialize in. So you're not leaving any money on the table, right? So on my sheet here, I tell them these are the things that we specialize in: mortgage protection, state affordable life insurance, right? And then future income planning where we're protecting your assets. So, Mrs. Client, even though we came here to talk about life insurance, I'm just going to make some suggestions along the way. So if I can help you in any other way possible, whether it be saving money or adding more protection or adding more value in your home, is there any reason why you wouldn't do business with me? Is there any reason why you wouldn't have a conversation about protecting your money now and or later? Yusuf, mute your line, please.
I just wanted to ask you,
can you mute your line, please?
Okay.
We'll save the questions to the end. I got you covered, buddy. Just write down your questions, okay? So that's super important so they know, because these household name guys, this is what helps out here. If you ever called a lead and say, hey, I represent Mutual Omaha, I know Mutual Omaha. Okay, perfect, come by, right? So it just adds to your credibility, right, when you're going into that home. The next thing that I want to talk about, guys, is the cheat sheet. This is so important, guys. We have a few tools that we use to make your life that much easier on which direction to go and what carrier to write, right? And so you can print them out. right? This is a cheat sheet, or you can use the FEX toolkit, right? And make sure you play around with it and you follow the instructions and look at the demo before you go and sit down with the client to use it. It's nothing more painful than to sit at an appointment and you don't know how the toolkits work and you end up being there longer than you should, right? Or you can have it downloaded as a PDF to your device in your iPad or your tablet or your computer, okay? So that you can always go to it. But this is what's going to help you understand which direction to go in. And let me say this, guys, when you fill out that worksheet, right, do your research first. Find the carrier that will fit first, and then call your manager or your business partner to get the recommendation. So you learn how to figure out which company to go with based on their medications and based on what they've been diagnosed with. This is going to help you out, right? In the toolkits, I know I've never had to use the InHome hotline. I've never had to. I stopped calling my business partner because I was able to look at the cheat sheet as well as the FEX toolkit, and it always makes your credibility that much better when you're calling in the home. I know sometimes I still do it. Colleague and I call each other, or some of the agents on here call and say, "Hey, listen, I'm thinking America is the best fit. What do you think?" Right? And then when the client is hearing that, guys, they know that you're doing everything possible to get them the best price and the best company. It just makes the sale that much easier, guys, right? And all these things, all these tools, guys, are the things that you can use so that you make your life easier, right? Because all we do is teach people how to press the submit button. That's all we do, right? And more so than often, if you're not making money, if you're not helping families, guys, it's because you don't know how to hit the submit button. And that's what we're teaching you how to do. If you fill this information out and look this up, all you got to do is say, "Hey, colleague, right? I don't know which direction to go in, but I have an idea of a company that I want to go with. This client has this, and going on. I'm thinking, Edna, what do you recommend?" Yes, Edna. And then guess what? The client is telling you all their information, and then you hit the submit button. That's all we do. But you can't get to that point unless you're prepared to go into the home and you have the tools necessary. Okay? So make sure that's printed out, guys, and understand this too. A lot of our devices, sometimes devices, shut down. You might have to get a new one. Or, things happen when it comes to electronics. So make sure you have everything laminated and printed out so you always have something to refer to just in case that happens. All right. The next thing that I want to talk about, guys, is the devices that you're using, right? So some of you have asked, is it better to get a tablet? Is it better to get an iPad, or is it better just to get a laptop? Here's my recommendation. I recommend you have both. Because what I will tell you is that, again, things happen to electronics, right? So it's always better to have two than one. It's always better to have more appointments than none, right? So I have a tablet and a laptop, or an iPad. The reason why I have both, guys, is because some of the electronic applications don't it doesn't fit with the iPad. Sometimes it won't work on the iPad. So sometimes you have to use a laptop, right? So I have both, and sometimes this dies, right? So I go straight to my laptop. But either way, I'm prepared and I'm not sitting there waiting to figure out what I need to do, right? Also have paper applications, right? It's only been twice in over 2 years that I've worked here that the system has shut down, right? Where we couldn't access the e-applications. So make sure you have your applications printed out. You can actually go online to the different carrier websites to do so, right? Have a bookmark or save to your PDF. You can also download an app called Notability. Notability allows you to write on your iPad or your, whatever type of laptop you have. I have a touchscreen laptop, so it flips back like a tablet if I wanted to use it that way. But make sure you have it saved to your device so when you bookmark it, you can just go directly to that application and start writing in and send it off to the company, okay? But things like this do happen, so you just want to make sure that you're prepared so you can stay in business, okay? Guys, another thing that's super important, okay? The next step is all of your logins and passwords. Guys, I cannot stress this enough, okay? So I know we represent a lot of companies, okay? So if you only have a few companies, that's great. You can still get started. But any of those other companies you don't have, please reach out to contract them so that they can be added, right, to your list of carriers. This is so important because life insurance is not a one size fits all program, okay? The reason why we represent so many different companies is so that we don't have to turn anybody away for life insurance, right? However, you will have to turn somebody away if you don't have the carriers or if you don't have your credentials or your logins. So make sure that you're checking your emails daily. Make sure not only do you have a writing number, but you've gone to the link that the carrier has sent you to sign up to register for the e-application portal. And then before the night before, or I would say a week in advance, make sure that you can log in successfully, that you know your passwords, that your passwords are written down. They're either either written down or on a spreadsheet. So for me, I have mine not only on a spreadsheet that I have access to, but I also have it on paper, right? All my logins and passwords for not only my e-applications, but my back office portal, right? It's crazy because some of these carriers, if you don't know your password and you do a forgot password, sometimes it could take 24 to 48 hours. You know what I mean? Sometimes we do business on, well, not sometimes, but we do business on the weekends, and these carriers are not open on the weekend. So, a lot of times you have to connect with them, but they're not available until that Monday. And a lot of the times, guys, we're calling leads, right? And so these leads, you got about a few seconds, right, to do what you need to do before they're thinking about going a different direction or, just not doing anything with you because you weren't prepared. And if you haven't experienced this already, you're not getting back in that home. These people don't know you. You got one shot, okay? If you're not following up, you're not getting back in that home, okay? So you want to make sure you get everything done right then and there. All right, so make sure your logins and passwords are successfully put on a spreadsheet or on paper, okay? And then guys, make sure your leads are printed out, okay? And if they're not printed out, make sure all the appointments that you have, that you take that lead and download it as a PDF. So for me, I don't like a bunch of paper, guys. So I have my leads, it'll be on here in full where I'm showing up to the house. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Client, right? This is what you filled out. Okay, because we're not making this up, but we are if you don't have it available to them for them to see that they filled it out, right? Because have you ever gone to a home and they were like, I don't remember filling this out, Mr. Client, Mr. and Mrs. Client, this is what I have here. So make sure you have them printed out because even if you're door knocking, right, you can walk up to that door and say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Client, you filled this out. We've been trying to get in contact with you. And if you're like me, I don't answer numbers that I don't know, right? But you filled out the information for state affordable life insurance. So our job is just to get this information to you. It takes about 10 minutes. Would you like my shoes on or off? Right? This is the credibility here, right? Everything that I'm showing you is adding credibility and value for you to be let in the home and to help a family successfully. Okay? Or if it's printed on the lead, make sure they're in order. Make sure they're not crumbled up, jumbled up, right? And make sure whatever you're bringing into that home, guys, that you're not bringing a bunch of stuff like you're about to move in, right? Because here's the thing. If somebody's coming to my home with a big old briefcase, right, with a bunch of stuff in it, or a big old book bag, I'm assuming they're going to take about an hour or two on this appointment with a presentation or whatever it is, and I'm immediately turned off. And if, we come from the practice company where our appointment, right, just the intro and the information alone was 30 minutes to an hour. And by the time we were finished, they're like, no, I don't have another 10 minutes to do an application, right? And what we do doesn't take that long. We're in the home for about 15, 30 minutes, right? But the presentation is about 2 minutes, right? So all I do, guys, is I bring me a nice little board, right, like this, that I can write on. And I bring this. That's all I bring. And it has all my papers in here. And they're like, that's all you have? Yes. So this doesn't take long at all. It takes about 10 to 15 minutes. So that 10 to 15 minutes matches what I have in my hand. But if you bring in a whole suitcase, they're like, oh my God, how long is this going to take? Has anybody ever got that before? I know I did, right? So, and then for me, it makes me move a lot quicker. I'm not carrying a bunch of stuff around. So I can effectively move throughout my 10 to 15 appointments, right, for the day. Another thing, guys, I know I'm probably going out of order, but I think this is super important, is making sure that you have gas in your car, making sure that all your devices are charged, okay? Because I've been there and done it. It sucks when you're going in, you're either headed to an appointment and your iPad is on 15%, and you're trying to hurry up and charge, and the car doesn't charge it that fast. I can tell you that now. So I make sure all my devices are charged and working, because it's nothing more than getting into that home and you are struggling, or you have to find somewhere to, can I use your outlet? Can I use your Wi-Fi? Make sure you have internet. Go to your local service, right? Whether it be Sprint, T-Mobile, AT&T, get you a little hotspot, little plug-in, or make sure you have internet. So you're not calling your business partner and having them put in an application over the phone. Guys, we're literally trying to make your life a lot easier. And you will make a ton of money, I promise you, and you'll make even more with everything that we're going over here, right? Make sure you look presentable, right? Please, this is so important. Your first impression is everything. I don't know about you, but if I'm giving somebody my banking information and this is my first time meeting them, I'm not giving my information to somebody who has on a superhero t-shirt. I'm sorry. It's just not cutting it. And you may close business once or twice, but you're not going to close business successfully and consistently. We have FFL gear, right? I know some people create their own FFL gear. They get the logo and put it on their own polos, right? Make sure you're make sure you have make sure you're dressed. Make sure you have your ID badge around your neck. Make sure you're groomed and not smelling like you just came from a workout. It is super important. And a lot of the times you can be really good, you can do everything right, but if you don't smell good and look good, they're not buying from you. They're not buying from you, right? Because how you do one thing is how you do everything. And when you look good and smell good, you feel good and you smile bigger, right? And it's attractive. And for that, guys, that really, those are all the major points that I can really think of and come together with on being successful and being prepared to go into the home. So what I'm gonna do, guys, is I'm gonna open it up for questions. I know people got a bunch of questions, right? And I'm here to answer them all. Does anybody have any questions?
The sheet you were showing with the different products we have in the FFL logo, that's in National Agent Hub, right?
Are you talking about the presentation, or are you talking
The
about
presentation,
the
the presentation that you bring in.
The
Yeah.
carriers. The carriers.
Yes, everything is like if you have not been to the Agent Hub, guys, everything is on the Agent Hub. I know when I first started in this business, right? Even though I've been in insurance for years, this is a completely different ball game, right? And so for me, I wanted to get effective at where I could access everything if I needed to print documents out, and it is all on the Agent Hub. Okay.
Real quick, since we have time, I'm gonna show guys.
Okay, perfect.
Like,
I
I'm
was
gonna
actually
show
just about to
everybody
pull it
where
up,
to
but you
go.
got it.
Can everybody see? Did I do it? No.
I see
Hold
you.
on.
No, you ain't do it yet.
Please type your questions in the chat. I'm gonna get to all those questions, and I see them, by the way.
All right, now y'all can see my screen.
Yep, Angry Birds too.
Okay, so FFLnational.com, guys. So you should be writing this down if you're not familiar. And y'all see I have one bar. Okay, here we go. So where you want to go in here is, so these 3 bars at the top, and you're going to go to Agent Hub, which Karyn was just talking about, and then start here. Everything that you need is here, y'all. Everything that you need for and before the appointment, after appointment, everything is here. So under downloads, and these are some of the things that Karyn just went over. So the client financial inventory, you need that. Here's the in-home agenda. It tells you what to do before you get in the home. Mm-hmm. The carrier credibility sheet, that's the one that has the different company names, so you can laminate that one. The final expense client inventory sheet. There's a whole life that Karyn showed this one, the whole life cheat sheet. This is the short version. The long version of the whole life cheat sheet, the term cheat sheet. So guys, you would go here, look, so if you don't know which company to use, right? I use the long version. And I know Karyn talked about the toolkit. Let me just explain something to you real quick. Next week, we're going to talk about the order of carriers. because the toolkit doesn't put it into the order that we use the carriers in. And so it's a certain order that you should be looking at the carriers. And if you look at this cheat sheet, it's already an order of the order that we should be looking at. So we should always look at Americo first. That's why Americo is number 1 on this list. And we will go back through this. But again, this is people call to find out which carrier to use. Do us a favor, look at this cheat sheet first, and you let us know what you think the answer should be, and then we'll confirm it. Does that make sense to everybody? What else did she talk about? You can get referral. Like, it's a lot of the policy summary, the thing to leave with the client. Some of these things I don't know what they are, but you can go through here and see which thing that you want to use for when you're in the home. Karyn went over a lot of the basics today, but go there and let me make sure it's nothing else that you need. Yeah, so go here and all your forms are here. Make sure you have these things downloaded. One other thing I wanted to add real quick, Karyn, I know that some places like Staples will not laminate your license. So you have to go somewhere that has self-service license, like self-service lamination, because a lot of places like that will not do it for you because I don't know why, but they just won't. But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to jump in.
No, you're
I know
fine.
Office Max will. Office Max do it. They laminated mine.
I mean, it probably depends on who's working and who's not. You know what I'm saying? It has to be some kind of rule around laminating a license. I'm just saying, like I said, because I've gone to get mine to the several different places laminated, and they said they wouldn't do it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now we have how long should you be in the house? So, guys, if you're doing everything, that's a great question. If you're doing everything that's needed, you should only be in the house for about 30 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes. Now, I understand if, you have to go back because maybe a client maybe forgot to tell you about a medication or forgot to tell you about something that they have been diagnosed with that they probably no longer have, and they got declined with the company, you have to kind of go a different direction. I understand that. But traditionally, when we're following these steps here that I went over, you're only in the home for about 30 to 45 minutes. I would say that if you're in the house longer than an hour, you might want to get with your manager and figure out what is it that you're spending too much time on, so that you can be more effective when you go back out in the field. But I will say this: if you're at the appointment way too long, more than likely you're not going to have the success that you want. I hope, did I answer that question for you? Perfect. Would having everything in a 3-ring binder be good? You got to kind of decide what is going to be the most, effective way for you to, do what you need to do. A 3-ring binder is fine as long as it's not super bulky and big, because that's just too much, right? A lot of this is like not even that thick. So if again, like what I have here, it's like it's like a folder, but it has like, cause I look at it like this: professionals, when I go to the doctor or anywhere you're going, they're always handing you a clipboard, right? And so for me, it just makes it more professional when I can just take the paper out, clip it here, and sit down and write on it, right? And then pull out my iPad to then put them in the system. So whatever works for you. I just don't recommend anything big and bulky. So let me start picking on some people to ask some questions here to make sure people are paying attention. Let me see. Miss Benita. Hey, beautiful.
Hello.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. So after what I went over today, what document can you use in the home that will allow you to figure out which direction to go in for what carrier to help a family with?
The worksheet that is on the FFL National website.
That is perfect. That is perfect. And let me see, Mr. Prophet.
Yes.
How should your license be presented?
Laminated.
Okay, that's what I'm
That's right.
talking about.
Hmm.
All right. And then Chiffon. Hey, beautiful.
Hi.
What are some ways that you can use to help you figure out which direction to go in with um which direction to go in for a client, what carrier? What are some tools you can use to help you with that?
The cheat sheet,
Yes, ma'am. Is there another way?
the that it's on the tip of my tongue, but it's the thing that we log into on the computer, you know
Yes,
what I'm trying to say.
yes, the toolkit.
Yeah, the toolkit,
Absolutely.
sorry.
No worries. All right. Miss Burnett.
Yes, ma'am.
Hey, beautiful.
Hello.
What are some documents you can use to leave with a client after you help a family?
Oh, the brochure of let's see, policy summary.
Perfect. Brochures and policy summary. Awesome. All right. Does anybody else have any questions? Oh, guys, let me make a note of this too. Make sure you because I know some people are having issues with the ILC, but you're not. But here's the thing: get with your manager or business partner, or look at the video. There is a video on the Agent Hub where it goes over how to access your leads. If you're having trouble and you don't know how to access your leads, please get with your manager or don't go weeks without not knowing how to get access to your leads, okay? Because sometimes if you really just truly don't have access to them, it does take about 24 to 48 hours to get an email out to the lead department to get an answer, right? But you're doing yourself a disservice and you're leaving so much money out of your pocket, right? When you can get it done right then and there, it doesn't take long at all. We're going to do everything that we can to help you. It is a brand new system and it's constantly being updated. So please make sure you know how to access your ILC to get your leads and also to export them to whether you're going to print them, all right, or if you're going to put them on a spreadsheet, not the day of your appointments, okay? So make sure we know this ahead of time and you can get that done if you're having trouble. Do we have any other questions? This topic today is pretty simple and to the point, guys. Everything is there for you. You just got to go and grab it and get it done and print it out so that you're ready.